Hello, tribe. Welcome. Let's dive into the archives. Keep choosing that abundance, and abundance will keep choosing you. Continue to embody your happily ever after energy. Stop doubting the favor that is over your life. You want it, you got it. I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it. Spirit keeps saying, someone you've been crushing on, maybe you've been questioning their affection, they like you a lot. Obviously, that's not for everybody, but whoever that was for, you've been thinking about this person nonstop. Yeah, this person, they're actually more serious about you than they let on, okay? They want something stable. They want to lock it down, actually. So you thought you were the one who was crushing? They are. They're trying to strategically get into your good graces without you knowing how much they really want you. They don't want to come off as clingy and desperate, but they're thinking about the future with you. And I pulled another too. You basically probably don't want to go that far with this person. You probably aren't looking for something that serious as what they may be looking for. So Spirit is saying, just to let you know, they have big plans for you. So you might want to take that into consideration as you make your next move. If you make a next move. Don't run around breaking hearts. That's what the angels say. Don't be leading people on when their heart is in it and yours isn't. I'm not trying to say anything negative. Just whoever this is, they know how to put like a love spell on people without even trying. And you're out here like making people fall for you. Just be delicate because you're breaking their hearts and your heart's not in it. We have the Two of Wands and the Two of Swords. Maybe there's some kind of mental connection. Maybe there's creative connections. Something like that, but it's not stable. It hasn't manifested into something real. There's no pentacles. There's no cups. It's not in your heart and it's not in the physical. It's just in your mind and maybe somewhere where you align creatively. But you got people out here thinking you're in love with them. And I don't know, they get like mesmerized by your aura. You're not even trying to make people feel that way. So you're probably just looking for a good time, good conversation, and that's about it. Spirit just keeps on saying that your energy, your aura, your vibes, whatever, it hypnotizes people. They can't even help themselves. Honestly, like, who am I talking to? Are you famous or something? In my vision, you're like walking around and you just have all these fans falling on their knees over you, screaming and cheering for you, just going nuts over you everywhere you go as if like you're made of gold and you're perfect. It's kind of like you have like an Austin Powers effect. Because I keep seeing the scenes where all the girls are all chasing him around everywhere and he's like dancing and running away. And he was so like unconventionally not even cute. Yet he could just had this aura that made women go nuts. You're much better looking than Austin Powers, okay? But that's the reference from Spirit. You're just making these girls lose their minds. Or these guys. It's like this fragrance, this like beautiful, sensual fragrance, like, pheromones or something, is like coming off of you and it's attracting a lot of people. I wasn't expecting Spirit to say that, but they're talking about you like emitting like a scent that, the opposite sex just like is drawn to your scent. Okay, and it's not a bad scent. It's like hormones or something like that. So whatever it's called, that's where that love spell is coming from. Something about you just attracts people. It's a natural thing. This reading is actually making me laugh. Like, what is Spirit doing? Just hyping you up, okay? This is so funny because people are so sensitive about the way you treat them. They feel like they're all dating you when none of them even know you. It's like you make people feel like they know you when they don't. They're all just swooning over you still in my vision. And they just want you, like they're stalking you like crazy obsessed fans. And if you don't give them the attention, that they crave, they might just start like a whole blog about how much they hate you because they secretly love you and want you and couldn't have you. And when you shut someone down, they take it personal for life, okay? And maybe you're not even doing it on purpose. You're just like, I don't have interest in all you. I don't have time for all this. But some of them, they take every word you say very, very personally. They take it to heart. And you're not even trying to do that, but your aura just makes people feel like they're in love with you or you're in love with them. I see like a teenager with a poster on their wall of like a famous person, like a famous musician, and feeling like that they're in love and that musician loves them when that musician doesn't even know them. And they've created like a whole fantasy out of it that isn't real. People will be doing that with you as an artist, the things that you put out there, creating whole stories in their heads about it. Could be anyone, honestly. But they're on that level of like being a little bit stalkerish. Not gonna lie. I swear these people in my vision are all just a bunch of NPCs out here. It's like you break their heart on accident, it shatters their whole world view, their whole reality shatters. And that's like what happens to NPCs, right? Because people who are not like that, the real souls, are not going to be shattered by getting rejected or people misunderstanding them or whatever, You stand on your own 2 feet. You love yourself, okay? And, like they say, if something is a rejection, it's just a redirection to a better path. And that's all. So for you, you don't take these kinds of things personal, not for my tribe. But NPCs, they take it like it's their whole life that you're in there, that you have their whole reality in your hands, okay? So anyways, let's move on. The thing is about these NPCs, they could have been like worshippers of yours in a past life. That's what Spirit says. So they're showing me this current timeline. Everything's modern like it is now. And they're showing me the same thing happening in an ancient timeline where you were like a ruler of some kind and had all these people worshiping you. And in this incarnation, it's like followed you from that past life. So some of these fans that are obsessed with you might have been your worshipers in a past life. And that's why they feel so like connected to you and they don't know why. And they're actually waking up out of being sleeping NPCs by being around you. And they're almost like an extension of your power. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like they live just to worship you. They don't have much other purpose. But you kind of help them ascend a little bit. They're fueling off your essence, your aura. So you kind of allow that fuel to wake them up. But in a way, they were designed just to worship you. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like they're aspects of you, of yourself, that you've created. Or some of the gods have created or something, and they just fuel energy into you all the time. And you can absorb all that energy and turn it into something creative. You're good at that. So I think you're teaching some of your people how to be more creative with their experience and not depend on someone else to make every move for them and answer every possible question for them. You're starting to get them to a place where they can answer the questions within themselves on their own and not just blame everything on you. You're one person. You can't be there for the whole entire world all the time. And just because sometimes you have other things to do and you can't give all of your energy to everybody, doesn't mean you don't care, but you're just one person. And when people want something from you that they can't get, they need to learn to give it to themselves and generate that kind of energy themselves that they're trying to get from you. So it's kind of interesting because all of these followers that you have, you don't even need them. You don't need worship. You don't need energy from them. Yeah, it's almost like the gods gave you a gift just to keep you hyped up. That you have this constant energy celebrating you at all times. So that you will feel like you can come in and do your mission properly. Because you have the support. Like, you're that high up there. The gods literally sculpted worshipers to keep you up there so that you would complete your earth project while you're here. So you don't need anything from them. You might even have a hard time accepting the energy that they send you. But God and Spirit says to appreciate this, Because, do they have to take it away for you to appreciate it? Hopefully not. It was given as a gift to help you. And so, in so many ways, Spirit wants you to, appreciate what you have while you have it. So they don't have to take it away to make you appreciate it. And stay up there where you deserve to be. You could spend all your time answering every possible question, settling every possible perspective, but that's not your job, okay? It's not your job to be the servant to other people. You've never been that way. I feel like you would only serve energies that match you and where you're going in life, if anything at all. And so people kind of try to check you and humble you, and they try to humanize you in a bad way. Like they try to make you less than what you really are. And they try to check you to make you act like you have to serve them, like you owe them something when you don't. And really, they just want another taste of your energy and your attention. And they're kind of desperate for a taste of your energy. So it's like this crowd is desperate for your energy, right? But at the same time, they're generating an energy together through all of them moving together like one beehive. They're like a collective in a sense now, the way that they all kind of follow you. So their collective has linked up and it's created its own energy supply. But their energy supply needs your energy supply. And then it kind of goes back to the crowd through you, through something artistic. And they absorb all that creative energy that you generate. And then it comes right back to you. So it's almost like you're recycling your own energy. So you generate the energy that goes out, that builds an even bigger energy that comes back to you. But really you're the source. So in a sense, you're almost like recycling your own energy and then recreating it better each time. So it's kind of like hard to explain, but it's like a cycle, a natural exchange. So you may be feeling extremely creative at times. And when you create, you put so much fuel into your creation. That's how it comes across so potent and how it lives so long. You know, if you put a lot of fuel, energy, and creativity into your work, people can feel it and they can absorb it, you know. But if people don't put much fuel into their work, it doesn't go as far as those who do. So you generate like so much fuel and you enhance creation, the potency of your creation. So there's a lot about you emitting this potency, this royal aura. Your aura, it appears as pure gold, not yellow, pure gold. You might just feel like you really do have that Midas touch, and it seems very natural. I see you ascending into a golden kingdom. Maybe you've been seeing this golden kingdom in your visions. I see your source chakra is very condensed, you know, and then it starts to expand and it looks like a halo, either a halo over your head or maybe even just a halo of light around your body type of thing. It's as if like the source energy within you has extended and expanded, and you feel this wholeness and this oneness in the higher worlds. So I see this angelic halo over somebody's head, and then it turns and goes behind their head and turns into a golden sun. Like a sun, the rays of sunshine are gold. And I think Spirit is saying someone was like an earth angel who ascended to become like a god or a goddess. They went above and beyond their purpose. So I'd say you've been connecting to the oneness within Source. Source says, you know, you've got that oneness about you. I just keep having this vision that you notice how nature and animals all work together in oneness and harmony. You're realizing that kind of connectedness that's in nature is also supposed to exist within humans. It's actually supposed to exist between all things. And so the more you get into these higher kingdoms and heavens, you're also aligning more to natural creation, how it all moves as one in harmony. And you're integrating that harmony into the human network as well, the human network of consciousness. I keep having visions, and it's hard to explain. The humans are just very unnatural to the world. They're always trying to have wars and whatever kind of chaos. And then I look at nature and animals, and they just live in love, in their purpose. They're just loving. They respect the hierarchy between all things. You know, they don't question what their purpose for existing is. They just live. And that would be like a state of love and acceptance, right? Some kind of level of love within acceptance that nature has, that humans don't really have. They don't really work as a cohesive system in the same way animals and elements do. So that's what I keep trying to explain. It's really as if somebody altered humans to make them unnatural to the world. I'm just going to say my visions, you know, it's up for interpretation. I keep seeing these original humans. They're like made of original light, some kind of like liquid light, somewhere in between spirit and mind and matter. They're not fully formed, yet they also have a way to manifest into form, kind of like in between light and liquid somehow. And like humans were like this. We were not meant to be like animals and be dense and physical. We were meant to be like lights and be fluid. And we had natural abilities back then. Our mind's eyes were always open, fully open, like a trip that never ends. But we're supposed to see that. We're supposed to see through the dimensions that are all around us. And originally, we always could. But nowadays, they tell you there's something wrong with you if you see that naturally. And the reason they do that is because they don't want people seeing into the quantum, into spirit. They don't want people awakening. The controllers don't want their minds to be fully awakened, because if they were, they would see the workings all around them of God, of the divine. And we were never supposed to be like animals. Somebody came in and mixed the genetics to make us more animalistic, to shut down the mind's eye and all of our other gifts, to make us more connected to the physical world. And just they wanted to make us more and more physical and less spiritual, so that we would live for the satisfactions of the physical, when we were not designed to do that. We were designed to be creative beings, loving beings. We had abilities before they messed with us and knocked us down a bunch of levels. We had abilities. But nowadays, if you had that full mind's eye open and spirit open, it would be hard to function in the world we live in if we had all those old gifts. So the controllers, they tuned the world so low that we would accept the physical as the highest reality when it isn't. We weren't even supposed to be bound to things like food and sleep and all that stuff. We were supposed to be like liquid light. That's the best way I can call it. Original light. And so this world was just a place to experience and interact with the physical, but we were never meant to be trapped and bound to it. Like I've said this so many times. And something happened that just devolved humans to the point where they lost all their gifts. And if they had all their gifts, they would never be able to live the way the system wants them to live, working a 9 to 5 and all the things that is pushed on us to live this very physical life is not natural. And they've made it so if you have those old gifts, you can't fit into the system. So they've just like shut down our connection. They've cut the cord to source for so many people. But for me, I can usually see, all the many realms all around me. And I can see thought building the physical world. And I can turn it off, thankfully. But it's like that natural ability is so much more entertaining and enriching than the physical experience. Like getting on the internet or something, or watching TV. It has nothing on what I can do in meditations. So that's just the visions I've been having. Something came in and just turned us human. It's literally like they turned us human when that's not what we were supposed to be. Or people just kept on choosing physical desires over their connection with spirit until through evolution, the connection to spirit got lost. And they might have to rebuild that connection through actual evolution, because losing that connection was devolving. So to evolve, they're going to have to rebuild what was lost step by step. And that takes accepting that these are real gifts. They're not illnesses. So you likely feel more kind of oneness when it comes to the animals and the elements and the gods and the angels You feel more oneness in those realms than you do probably with regular people. But you are inviting that wholeness, that oneness into the human world. What it would take is for them to shed that animal side, because they're not supposed to be active. They're not supposed to be operating in that low way. If they would shed that animal side that's not a part of us, not naturally, they wouldn't want a war. They would take care of each other. They would be good people. And the more they just keep on rejecting spirit and acting on the lower nature, the animal side, they just continue to cause more and more separation and fighting. And I decided personally, I'm going to choose that I do care. My voice does matter. Instead of going around being like, don't care, don't worry, don't think about anybody but yourself. No, I'm going to be the one who says, what the fuck is wrong with all of you people? Don't ever stop caring. Your voice matters. One person could change major situations for the better if they had the right ambition. And just like we said earlier, some of you fuel into your creation so much that they are strong enough to make major changes to the network. Just by the way that you view things and the way that you speak about things. You put so much creative energy behind every word you say. So, okay. You guys got to care about each other. You got to care about your own voice and opinion at least. Especially if it's an ascended opinion like we were seeing with the golden aura. You have an ascended opinion that needs to be heard. And by speaking that, you are showing that you are a force in this world. And when you speak, you're going to be heard. And that it matters when you speak. So you're showing people that maybe I let a lot of things slide. I don't burden myself. But if I do care, watch out. Because I really am in it. If I really do care. And I will fight for what is right in the cause. Okay. So I'm saying, Spirit's saying, watch out for you when you do actually care. Because it's not that easy to get you to that place, but there's certain subjects that you will fight for. And, don't care to the point where you get drained, but that's not even possible. If you just keep generating more love for this world, you're never going to run out. If you tell yourself that life is draining, that creative power you hold is going to create a draining life. Half the time, the words you speak create the reality you experience. So honestly, reject speaking over your life in ways that bring more draining energy in and draining people. Keep being in that love that you are, where everything you touch just transforms into pure soul and essence for everyone. Everyone that comes near you is going to find their soul. They might have thought they were just a bunch of followers, but you take followers and make them into masters. So half the time, you speaking is half the problem. You're not even being drained sometimes by other people. You're being drained by the way you are speaking about yourself and looking at yourself and viewing yourself. So view yourself in the light that God would view you in. And then you'll realize that nothing can even drain you, except for you putting your own self in that position by talking bad about yourself, because you're in creator energy. So be aware of the way you use your creator energy, because you've blended the line between the creation and the creator. You're right up there where every word comes true. So don't trap yourself in some kind of negative energy because you're not claiming your power like you should. Something about you transitioning from just looking at it as sun energy, solar plexus energy, power, and core energy. You're looking at it as golden somehow. So you've actually beat the game, like any game. You're beyond the game, ascended out of it. So I don't think you're focused on power struggles anymore. I think you're more focused on bringing this oneness into this plane for everyone else to see as well. And you're going to activate it. Or you already activate it. Just by your presence, you activate it. Maybe the system has put you through a lot of situations where you felt like you had to fight for your power. Or it's done that to some people here or out there or whatever. They felt like they had to fight just to get their power back from a system that strips it from you. So they were in the realm of trying to claim their power and understand their place in the world and how to show up. But I think they've gotten out of power struggles. I think you've leveled out of their game. That game where they make you question yourself, second guess yourself, always be seeking for something that's missing, that's gone. You've embraced wholeness, nothing's missing. You're not questioning your power anymore. So you're definitely beyond power struggles, and you pulling away and allowing people to find their own power is one of the best things you can do for them sometimes. Because the best thing to do is for people to find source, and then it'll never be a struggle for power among different people. Each person will feel like they embody their fullness within themselves, and there's never a reason to turn that into a competition. Everybody thrives. Seriously, changing the way you view something can change your timeline, your whole reality. You can quantum jump that way. If you've been looking at something the same way for a long time, you've created that comfort zone on that timeline. But if you start opening your mind to other perspectives, those will become just as real as any other thing that you have explored. So what I like to say is that there's truth through each person's belief. Whatever they fuel into and believe and create becomes a reality. And all that happens is you get to choose where you align. So you can jump into somebody else's creations and realities, and they may seem very true to them, or you can create your own, or you can jump into collective realities. But really, the only difference is where you align. How you view it will choose what dimension you exist in. And you can change what's true to you by what dimension you exist in, because basically all the creations there's ever been exist side by side, playing side by side forever in many potential ways. So when you quantum jump, all these realities are true to an extent, but you could find truths that are more potent than other truths that have more energy behind them. You can choose where you align. I'm just saying, change your view, change your dimension. But I think the best thing to do is find full embodiment with your own creative power. But it can be fun to jump around through everybody else's creations too. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're doing it with permission. If you ever feel like you hit a big stop sign when you're working with someone, probably means they don't want to be read. So don't interfere, just leave them alone, which you already do that. But yeah, sometimes when I'm reading, I can feel an energy doesn't want to be read. I'm not going to push it. I'm only going to read for those who accept the energy. And if you really are on this angelic, godly level, you will respect that law of non-interference, where you're not going to force something on someone if they don't want it. There are some people out there who don't respect that rule, and they are in a fallen nature. So basically, like we were talking about earlier, humans fell into their lower selves when they fell into nature in a way. We were connected to nature, but as spiritual beings in the beginning. And it's like I see people becoming more like animals and more like elements, and not so much just pure light. They get more complex as they become more integrated with the earth plane. So they were meant to interact with it on an ascended level. They weren't really a part of it until somehow I see people getting taken over and they become part of nature. It's kind of unnatural, actually, because we were meant to just be able to be in a formless state and travel here as we please and leave as we please. And we could see the animals and the interaction, and we could have fun with that and like enjoy God's creation as it is. But somehow when they like turned us into an aspect of the earth, I turned this infinite circle of spirit, this spiritual body turns into a spiral. And all of a sudden we're like bound to the earth instead of just experiencing the earth. So somehow they cut off the connection to the infinite and limited it, and then bound us to the limitation, and that turned into this spiral, turns this infinite spirit into this infinite spiral, this mental spiral. So whatever they did, they cut the connection between source and the mind, and that's what turned people superhuman. Not in the good way, but maybe by being superhuman, they'll become superhuman. Maybe that limitation will force other abilities to emerge. That usually happens if something gets limited, something greater will get heightened in its place. So no matter what they do to try to cut us off from source, something else will come through that'll push us back to the top. And they can't disconnect our gifts no matter how much they tried. But they definitely tried to program us into the limitation, put us in a box over and over again. Forever, for hundreds of years, they've been trying to put us in a box. And every single time that spirit, that soul, it just knows how to break down the box. It knows. It knows it is infinite. It knows it is eternal. No box can contain your soul. So they try to contain the mind to get the mind to trap the soul. But the soul can't be trapped. So the soul continuously frees the mind. And we're back on the map, on the natural grid, waking it back up. So you have awakened the original grid. And I also see an evolution where that integrates with the newer grids that we're building. Grids from God, though, not the controllers. Although they have their place, but we are never going to align. I have all my old ancient abilities, and I've learned to function with it, and I'm happy to have it. And I thank God every day that I can see the way I can. So Spirit says that animals in nature kind of have their own network, and humans kind of have their own network. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the human network is going to rise into the sun consciousness and evolve back into that place where they have all their gifts. And they're going to have to do that as one over probably centuries of evolution. But everything will return to a place of harmony as the Creator designed it, as it is in heaven and in nature. It'll be like that with people too. At some point, eventually, evolution's bound to cause that. The greatest potentials are going to get supercharged and they're going to play out. No matter how long it does take, it will happen. I kept having a vision that Spirit just reminded me of. You know how I told you we became like bound to the earth and it was really unnatural? What if that's kind of literal? Because we're always, if you think about it, connected to the ground. At all times, you always have to have some body part connected to something of the earth. We can't fly. So we're like tied to the earth. Whether you're walking, even skydiving, you have to have a parachute. That's something that's going to save you. That's something of the earth. All the things that bring security, we have to have that to survive. In that way, we're bound to the earth. But what if there was a time where we were not bound? We could be limitless. And I think that lives in a lot of us, and a lot of people still feel connected to that place where they had powers and stuff from ancient times. And I think that's why they don't always want to work and stuff, because they know they're not of this flesh like that. And they kind of reject the flesh. They may not remember why, but they do. And it doesn't make them lazy. It's just not what we were made for. So it's like our insides are fighting each other. The side that could do anything and the side that now is bound to matter, they don't really seem like they go together. But somehow, some way, it's like every little tiny detail of existence is going to coexist perfectly somehow. Even if they mess with us to make us less ascended than we really are, that's going to somehow turn in our favor. God's going to turn every disadvantage into an advantage in our favor for those who are of original light. And by light, I mean the creator source. It has nothing to do with what you look like. It's about the benevolence of the soul. So the way we always need some kind of physical security blanket reflects the way consciousness fell into matter. I see people levitating off the ground, stuff like that, when they're not bound to matter. But Spirit keeps emphasizing this is all going to become a oneness again one day. They keep just calling it like everything works perfectly together. The circle of life. We are one. Oh, that was terrible. But yeah, we are one. You know, everything on earth seems to understand that except for people. We're even one with some pretty awesome aliens. And even the evil aliens, they're going to make a comeback and come back to the light. God is calling them back to the light, to the love. See, those evil aliens, they just love to play with the DNA. And that's probably the reason why they have no light or life left in them. And they have to steal it. Because corruption just steals the soul. Without the soul, there's no more creation. Corruption destroys creation. So they introduced something that made humans fall, but it has evolved. You know, it's heightened other senses. It's even heightened our instincts. Well, that was a lot of interesting information from the Page of Pentacles. Guess I'm reading the Earth Archives. I always end up doing that whenever I go meditate in nature a lot. You catch me talking to Mother Earth about humanity all the time. So we've read a few pages out of the archives about the Earth School. Different Earth schools and schools of thought that create your experience. Then I pulled the Ace of Pentacles. Oh my goodness. We had the Queen of Pentacles. Getting all the Pentacles. You still got people out here seeing stars. Well, I'm going to call that the end of the reading. I hope you have enjoyed this message, talking about the material plane on so many levels. All right, I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.